Yo, it's your boy Orion, one half of the Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today's video is going to be NFL Top 5 Underrated Players, a reaction by me, Orion, one half of the Northwest Sports Fanatics. I've been seeing a lot of lists, top 5 wide receivers, NFL wide receivers, top 5 of all time, best corners, this and that. So I figured I have a little bit of time that I would hop on. I'll wait for a few of y'all to hop in so we can talk a little NFL, talk some NFL 2020, talk about your team, how it looks, the outlook moving forward into the draft and the aftermath of how your team looks and, you know, the expectations of maybe making the playoffs or not. But I hope everyone is having a great Tuesday. Me and Marcus are going to try to be able to record as much as possible, podcasting, live streams, uploaded videos. He'll try to be able to do some from his place. I'll try to do some at my place here as well. And I got my list of my NFL top 5 underrated players today. And it's going to be something that I want you guys to comment below because I know my list is going to be completely different than what you guys have. But it'll be interesting to see what you guys put down and what you guys think compared to how I think and all the tape that I've been watching recently. So, NFL Top 5 Underrated Players with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can, either on here or patreon.com/NWSF. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on our YouTube page. How is everybody doing, man? I missed you guys. I love you guys. I'm going to try to be able to record as much as possible. I'm not sure how long I'm going to be able to do the live stream today. It's a little earlier than I normally typically like to live stream. I typically like to go around 6 or 7 p.m. Pacific time, which would normally be around 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the Midwest or the East Coast. But I figured I got a little bit of time right now. So I wanted to be able to hop on. Let me acknowledge everybody that's in the room, and we'll be able to go over everything. Ryan Schrick, my boy, Chiefs Kingdom, he says, Nathan Peterman underrated. I could agree to that. He's not in my top 5, but he definitely played a little bit better when we saw Hard Knocks and saw him play sparingly. You know, obviously he had his little stint in Buffalo where he didn't look too great with all those interceptions. It was like 5 interceptions in the first half, and then he got benched. But then when he went to Raiders, he looked a little bit better in Hard Knocks. Tracy, what'd it do? Panthers Rule 95, DJ Moore. That's another one. Him and Curtis Samuel are going to be able to hopefully elevate their games more and more and more. And obviously no Luke Kuechly, no Cam Newton. You got Coach Rule now, so it'll be interesting to see on how they implement DJ Moore. And they're going to need a lot from him and Curtis Samuel because, I mean, you're going to be able to run CMC as much as possible, but you don't want his legs to fall off. At some point, if you overwork him, there is a chance. Achilles, he's got, good genes with his dad being Ed McCaffrey, formerly of the Broncos at wide receiver. So he hasn't really had a lot of injuries, up to this point. So let's hope that, knock on wood, that he can stay healthy because he's going to be the number 1 pick in most NFL fantasy drafts coming up in 2020. But DJ Moore would be an excellent choice for the top 5 most underrated players in the NFL. Let's take a quick look on some of the other. Nathan Peter Goat. Sit to start Fitzmagic. Interesting. Well, the thing is with Tua, I mean, the reason that you picked him is to be able to, sell the jerseys, put butts in the seats. You got your franchise QB. You can go whatever route that you want to go, but, I mean, for me and the Dolphins, if he's healthy 100% and he can play, why would you, bench him? I mean, you could bench him and have him learn under Fitzmagic for, a few games, maybe when they go like 1-4 or 2-3. But at this point, I want to be able to see him get out there. I want to be able to see him, be able to read the coverages. I want to see him with his hips and his legs and his arms, how we know he's injury prone, you know what I mean? But hopefully at this point that he can stay healthy. And I'll be honest, I really like what the Dolphins have been doing the last couple years, and maybe 1 or 2 more solid drafts, out of the Miami Dolphins. There's a good shot where, they might be able to make, a playoff push. Maybe a wild card spot because the Buffalo Bills are going to start, winning that AFC East, I feel, pretty easily now, depending on what happens with New England, the following years, who they end up getting as their, guy after Tom Brady, because I don't really think Jarrett Stidham is going to be a guy that you're going to be able to have forever. But I don't know. I'd rather have Tua go right out the gates week 1 personally, but we'll see what they decide to do if they go Fitzmagic and then have Tua learn underneath him. We'll see, but I personally would love to have Tua out there week 1. Evan Ingram, low-key underrated, Ryan Trick says, agreed. One of the most underrated tight ends, I feel, in football, besides, I think, Zach Ertz. I think Zach Ertz might be the most underrated tight end. You know, everyone talks about Kelsey, everyone talks about Kittle, but I think with Zach Ertz, he's the name that as a top 3 tight end in the league, and he has been for quite some time, he definitely doesn't get the love or the pub the same way as Kittle and Travis Kelsey do. They're a little bit more flashy, faster. You know, their games are a little bit different, but I really feel that people sleep on Zach Ertz and Evan Ingram quite a bit, so agreed there. Ingram is overrated in Madden, is he? I don't know. We'll have to see what his ranking is there. Let's see. Levi Wallace is underrated. Panthers rule. Now you're just dropping all the names. Club for Life, 151 PS4. What's up, man? What it do? Nation is cute. What's up? Brian, 21. Only call me Brian. What's good? What's up, man? Hopefully everyone is having a good day. Robert Hernandez, DeMario Davis, and Terry McLaurin are underrated. Those are some good names. Terry McLaurin is kind of on the up and up. You know, that's Marcus's guy. I think a lot of people already saw the talent between him, DK Metcalf, with Seattle, who I think is really going to break out this year. Scary Terry, obviously, Russell Wilson throwing to you rather than Dwayne Haskins, you're going to get different results. And obviously, we know with Tannehill and, you know, A.J. Brown and whatnot with some of the other weapons as far as rookie wide receivers from last year. But those are the guys that are kind of leading the crop as far as the top 3 wide receivers. There's a few others that are going to be able to kind of get their names out there as well this season and beyond, but those are definitely good ones there. We'll see if those are on my list. Casey Hayward is underrated, Tracy says. Agreed. Mitchell Schwartz never makes a Pro Bowl, but his stats show that he's the best tackle in the league. Gave up 0 sacks this year. Mitchell Schwartz is solid. Chubi Tahada, what's up, man? Sixing, Marcus Williams. That's another one. I think he is a little bit underrated as well. Marcus is in the building. Gang, gang, gang. Justin Reed, a little underrated. So let me go into my list right here. And this is going to be something that not a lot of y'all probably are going to agree with, but, you know, I figured I'd throw it out there. I got a few minutes, so that way we can kind of go over some of the names. Obviously, one of the names that is not on my list that I have to definitely shout out, not to be biased or a homer, but Levante David, linebacker for my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I really feel, you know, coming as a second-round pick many years ago with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from Nebraska, if you look at Levante David's stats, he's my favorite player in the NFL. He never ever gets the love or the pub that he deserves. He's one of the best linebackers in the league. He's not the best linebacker in football, no, but he's definitely one of the best linebackers, and he has been. He's very consistent. He's a good leader, sideline to sideline. You know, he can definitely intercept the football every game. You know, if he has opportunities coming his way, he can get the sack lunches. Yum, 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 yum. Right? He can pass deflect, you know what I mean? He can help with double teams, you know what I mean? He can clean up tackles when there's a dog pile. I mean, there's literally everything that you would want in a leader. You know, on the football field, on the defensive side, Levante David is it. And so I'm kind of excited to see what him and Devin White can do now with Devin White coming into his second year, his sophomore season. Hopefully it's not a sophomore slump. And they definitely got 2 of the better linebackers that are one that's older and one that's younger that we got to be able to see, you know, the progression. But now with, you know, Tom Brady and Gronk, you know, them there, Levante David is going to become more of a household name. Devin White is going to become more of a household name. Chris Godwin on the wide receiver side is going to become more of a household name just because the Bucs are going to be on prime time 5-6 times this year. So it's going to give an opportunity to a lot of the NFL fans that normally would never watch Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I don't blame you. In years past, they haven't been good with Jameis Winston. But now with Tom Brady there, it changes everything, and it'll be a little bit more exciting to be able to see where they go. But that is one of the honorable mentions that I just wanted to throw out there. Not on my list, on my top 5. But let's go and start it off with number 5. Number 5, I feel, is one of the best offensive tackles in the entire league. He really is a guy that is a leader, a guy that you can count on, and based off their draft pick this year, we thought it was going to be someone maybe at wide receiver named Justin Jefferson. right? But they decided to address some issues on the line with people like Andrews Pete, which they gave the extension to, which I didn't really understand. But they've had some players on the line, I could say 2 of them, right, that were accountability factors. It was someone that you really couldn't rely on game in and game out. But this guy is where they lean everything to, and I feel that he doesn't get really the respect that he deserves. I'm talking about the New Orleans Saints and Ryan Ramczyk. If you really look at his stats and you look at what he does on a game-to-game basis, he's solid. He doesn't give up many sacks. He's a leader. People come to him, based off just getting them pumped up, getting them physical, and getting them ready. And that's what it really shows you as, me as a Buccaneers fan, I can really understand the significance of Ryan Ramczyk. I mean, especially like Robert Hernandez says, the Andrews Pete signing, that blew me away. I mean, for me, that's a guy that you could have, he could have got his ass out of there. You know what I mean? But Ram to me, and I'm a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, I call it right down the middle. You know what I mean? When I study the tape, and trust me, I've been studying a lot of tape. I'm still working full-time, at the warehouse. So as soon as I get off work, if I'm not on YouTube or if I'm not, on Bleacher, ESPN, live streaming, doing an upload video, doing a podcast with Marcus, I'm really going back and watching our old videos, checking out some of the highlights. Of some of the games that me and Marcus did together this past season, previous seasons, as well as on YouTube, and just checking out Good Morning Football and checking out the highlights. But for me, as far as offensive tackles in the league, Ryan Ramczyk might be the most underrated offensive lineman in the entire NFL. I mean, to me, the best offensive lineman, when Marcus did his list of his NFL top 10, my order would have been a little bit different, but the names are pretty similar. But Quentin Nelson, to me, is the best lineman in the NFL. But Ryan Ramczyk at offensive tackle, let me tell you, New Orleans Saints have got a great one, and that's why they decided to be able to pick up more linemen in the draft. And I assume that they're going to be doing that more and more, because if you remember when they played the Vikings, right, last time around, Danielle Hunter, Everson Griffin fucked them up to the point, period, where they lost the game and they couldn't get the ball to AK-41. He wasn't really a factor. Michael Thomas can't guard Mike. You only hope to contain him. He wasn't really a big factor. Brees didn't have enough time to go through his progressions. So I'm really happy right now for the Saints. They're running out of time. The window is closing with Drew Brees. They got a couple years. This is going to be a great opportunity for them to be able to get to the NFC Championship game, get to the Super Bowl. Saints-Chiefs would be sexy. You know what I mean? I'll say that right now. You know what I mean? Saints, Ravens, that would be sexy too. But I really do love Ryan Ramczyk, and I really feel that he is one of the more underrated players, not just offensive linemen, but as players in the NFL. Brian Chafino, yo. Ruiz, LA Rams, what to do? Just started the list. Just got in here. So I'm just going to start off doing NFL top 5 underrated players with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. It would be great. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on our YouTube page. Chiefs winning it all again, probably. If any team that I've seen, going in from last season to this season, they might have the strongest team to repeat that I've seen since maybe the Cowboys in 92, 93. I mean, we're talking about they barely lost anybody on the roster. You got Clyde Edwards-Helaire from LSU. I mean, I love the players that they have on their team. They got Patrick the Clone Mahomes. Andy Reid is still there. I mean, to be honest, I would be shocked if the Chiefs don't win it again. And obviously, if the Chiefs don't win it again, that would mean maybe Chiefs-Ravens in the AFC Championship game, and maybe the Ravens clip them somehow, some way. Justin Tucker field goal at the end. Because the Ravens and Chiefs are going to be battling it out probably for the next 5 to 6 years. So realistically, the Super Bowl is going to have the Ravens or the Chiefs flip-flopping. We'll see how many years, but I really like those two teams moving forward in the AFC, and there'll be some surprise teams, that will get up there from time to time. But if you look at a team as a whole, moving forward, age of the players, who they have, championship pedigree, I mean, I don't really see anyone really competing with the Ravens or the Chiefs for quite some time. Now in the NFC, completely different. It's going to be open year in and year out. It may be Green Bay one year, Niners one year, Seattle one year, Eagles one year. I mean, you just never know where it's going to go. And the Saints, Rams, I mean, you just really don't know where it's going to go, from year to year in the NFC. And us NFC guys, me, Marcus, and a lot of y'all, that makes it exciting because, it's definitely top-heavy in the AFC. And even if you get to the Super Bowl, there's no guarantee you're going to be able to beat the Chiefs or the Ravens. That's big facts. But let's get back into the list. Number 5, Ryan Ramczyk, Saints offensive tackle. He is my top 5, number 5, most underrated player in the entire NFL. Number 4 is a wide receiver. Not the biggest name, right? We know Jerry Jeudy just got picked up by the Denver Broncos. But I feel that this wide receiver is kind of like Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin was a guy that me and Marcus saw him at Penn State, and we said, you know what? This guy, he's got it. You know what I mean? We know Mike Evans is there. Jameis sucks, but you could definitely see the progression in Godwin's game where he was getting better and better and better. And this guy on the Denver Broncos, Courtland Sutton at number 4, I really feel is a guy that even with Jerry Jeudy coming in, I'm not a true believer in Drew Lock. I got a lot of guys that I believe in, and I got a lot of friends that are Broncos fans. Me and Marcus have a mutual friend, Jay Graves, the one that I usually go to wrestling events with and Blazer games with, big Broncos guy. And I told him, to go from John Elway, then Peyton Manning, and then you got, Brock Osweiler and, all these other quarterbacks that aren't on that Hall of Fame level. It's going to take a long time to be able to get back to that point. And I'm not really a big believer in Drew Lock. He's got a lot of weapons surrounding him moving forward, but he doesn't really give me that it factor where you're going against Chiefs, you're going to be going against, a lot of good competition. Raiders are going to slowly get better and better and better in Vegas. So I'm just not really sure. And then with the Chargers and Herbert, Tyrod Taylor, we'll have to see where they go. Their defense is amazing as well. Year in and year out, the Chargers are building that D up. I just don't know if I'm a true believer in Drew Lock. I hope he's a guy that can turn into maybe like Josh Allen, someone that is a little raw, but then eventually you can start seeing a little glimpses, of superstardom. But for me, I just don't know if I really trust him. You know what I mean? Like I see some potential in him, but I don't know, man. I just don't know if he's the one, to get them over the hump, especially in that division in the AFC West. I see some talent there. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's a bum. He's the best quarterback that they've had out of Simeon and Osweiler and all the guys that they kind of floated around, since then. But for them to be on that championship caliber, I'm not sure if he's the one that's going to be able to get them there. He might be the one leading up to the guy that comes around. But I feel that there is some potential there. But Courtland Sutton is a guy that he's got good hands. He's a good route runner. And like I said, I think he's really going to show off in fantasy, like with DK Metcalf. I feel certain wide receivers are really going to break out this season. And I feel that Courtland Sutton and DK Metcalf are two of the top guys at the wide receiver position that are going to be able to put up monster numbers in NFL fantasy 2020. Number 5, Ryan Ramczyk for the New Orleans Saints, offensive tackle. Number 4, wide receiver from the Broncos, Courtland Sutton. Ryan Schrick, he's got ESP. Me and him think alike. Number 3, we're going to slip and slide, and we're going to flip over to the defensive side of the ball. We're going to go with a linebacker. And this is probably the most underrated linebacker besides, I feel, Levante David and another guy that I have on my list. He's on the San Francisco 49ers, a guy that you probably don't know really who he is, or unless you are a Niner fan or you've been, following him. Fred Warner. Now, Fred Warner is one of these guys, sideline to sideline, rarely talk shit, very aggressive. He's one of those guys that I feel that you could argue he's one of the most underrated players in the entire NFL. Like number 1, you definitely could argue that. He's always a beast. He's always running sideline to sideline. He's always the guy that you can lean to, when they're in a position where maybe the game is down or the momentum is swung, where they look at someone to be able to get refocused. The Niners defense is one of the best in the NFL, and it has been, obviously for, a few months now since we're starting to transition into their little dynasty that the Niners are trying to build. Now, they've come up a little short, with that Super Bowl, but a lot of people would have ended up losing to the Kansas City Chiefs. But that doesn't mean that the Niners can't get back to a Super Bowl. Maybe this year, maybe not, but within the next, I think, 4 years, there's going to be a great opportunity for them to be able to get back to another Super Bowl. And if they don't get to the Super Bowl, I think that they can definitely get to at least 1 or 2 more NFC championship games with this team that they have. Will Jimmy G be the right one to be able to get him over the hump? We will have to see. But I do really like Fred Warner and what he does. He's just one of those guys, you can't sleep on him. He's always active. He's always around the football. Just like another guy that is not on my list is another guy that I need to shout out and give some love to is Cory Littleton. Cory Littleton is another guy. When he was on the Rams, and if you watch the tape, he's another guy that's always leading the team in tackles, it seems like, game in and game out. It just pops on film. When I'm watching film, day in and day out with this, coronavirus and everything that's going on, that's another guy that really shows out. And I don't think really people know these names unless you guys really watch a lot of football. John Johnson's another one. So Ruiz knows, So for me, being a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, it has nothing to do with it. Marcus, being a Redskin fan, we really do break down the tape, and there's certain guys that really pop out to me. But those are definitely great ones to be able to mention. But Cory Littleton, anyone that watched any Rams football game, regardless if they were winning or if they were getting smoked, he was always in the highlight reel. And I can appreciate that effort, that even when you're down, 20 points, you're still grinding it out, for pride, and to be able, not maybe for his stats, but just to be able to, hey, come on, guys, to get the rest of the guys going. And I really appreciate that. I love Cory Littleton, and I love Fred Warner. Number 3, Fred Warner, linebacker, 49ers. Now we're getting to the cream of the crop. Number 2 is a running back. I'll say it again. Number 2 is a running back. Now, out of all the running backs in the NFL, who could be the most underrated? Well, there should be only one name that comes to mind as the most underrated running back in the NFL, and he's really going to be able to show out and show people what he's worth. And Damian Williams, that would be a good choice, but there's one that's even more valuable and one that's a little bit more underrated. Number 2, from the Chargers, Austin Eckler. Melvin Gordon, who? They don't need him. They didn't need to pay him. You wanted to hold out. Austin Eckler is one of those guys. He could play on the Patriots. He would be a perfect system guy there, not just as a white running back, like a Rex Burkhead or a lot of the white guys that they kind of bring in there, but as a system guy. But as a running back and as a player, if you look at Austin Eckler's game, white guy, black guy, it doesn't matter. Race card goes out the window. I love Austin Eckler's game, and for him to be able to get paid and for them to move on from Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon's going to go to the Broncos. Royce Freeman's there. They have a lot of people already sitting there in the backfield. So I'm not really sure what his stats and what his game is going to be, but Austin Eckler is going to be the workhouse back, and he's going to be a guy that can play 3 downs, 4 downs. You need to drop a little draw. Boom, you can do it. You need a little screen pass for 6. Boom, he can do it. You need him to pick up the blitz, with a linebacker or an edge rusher coming in, and you need him to be able to deplete a guy. He can do it. So to me, he is the most underrated running back, period, in the whole entire NFL. His stats are going to be bananas this season, regardless if it's Tyrod Taylor, Justin Herbert. But I really feel that in fantasy, his value is going to be very high, and I'm interested to see where he falls in the draft for fantasy football, because he's going to be one of those names. Run CMC, Zeke. There's going to be so many guys that are going to be above him. But if you ended up having Eckler as like your RB2, RB3, that could be really huge. So I absolutely love Austin Eckler, Chargers running back at number 2. Number 1. I'll just make that comment viewable there for you, Marcus. For whatever reason, they didn't have it highlighted, so let me allow everyone to see that. Make sure you follow our podcast on Spotify. All right, so number 1, the most underrated player in the NFL, hands down, no doubt, and I like for anyone to be able to really prove me wrong. It's a linebacker. He plays in the NFC South. he never gets the love or the pub that he deserves. A few years ago, he ended up getting like a 3-year, $24 million, little contract. A lot of reporters were talking shit. A lot of people were wondering, is this guy really good enough? Hands down, the best leader, I want to say, the best intensity that I've seen in quite some time. A guy that really brings it all, Demario Davis, a.k.a. the glue. I mean, there's just so many things that come to mind when I see him, as far as, me being a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, but seeing him in the NFC South on a regular basis, watching almost all the Saints games, he's one of those guys, week in, week out, he is the glue. He is the guy that really holds things together. Yeah, they got Cameron Jordan, who's great, and you got a lot of other pieces, on the defense. And Cameron Jordan, you could say, is the best player on the defense. I can give you that. But as far as underrated Demario Davis, he really holds everything together, and that's why we gave him the nickname, a.k.a. the glue, because he really does hold everything together for the Saints. And I feel, moving forward, if they need to be able to make this big push to the NFC Championship game, you better believe Demario Davis is going to be a big reason why that they get there. Very consistent, always flying around the football, sideline to sideline, good footwork, good anticipation, good tackling skills. Everything about Demario Davis's game I love. And I even got a response from Demario Davis on Twitter, which was kind of cool, on one of my posts that I ended up, saying, one of the more underrated players, besides Levante David. And then he messaged me back, which I thought was pretty cool because, you never know when you reach out to a guy on Twitter, that they might reach back and, reach you a comment or, give you a little, retweet or whatnot, which is pretty awesome. So, but let me go back up here real quick. So let's go do a recap real fast. Number 5 in my NFL top 5 underrated players in the NFL, a reaction by your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on our YouTube page. Number 5, Ryan Ramczyk from the Nolens Saints at offensive tackle. Number 4, Courtland Sutton, Broncos wide receiver. He is going to show out. Number 3, linebacker from the 49ers, Fred Warner. He is a beast. Number 2, the most underrated running back in the NFL, Austin Eckler from the Chargers. And number 1, the most underrated player in the NFL going into 2020, Demario, a.k.a. the glue, Davis. So I hope everyone enjoyed the list. I'm going to go back up here and kind of acknowledge some of the other names and other things that people put on there for underrated. Casey Hayward is underrated, Mitchell Schwartz, Marcus Williams, Justin Reed, Vita Vea. Well, Vita Vea got injured, so I don't really even know how good he's going to be as a player for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's some potential there, but when guys get hurt, you just kind of like, damn, you know what I mean? You don't really know what you're going to be able to get with those guys. And Kawan Short, that's another good one. Let's see here. Andrews Pete signing. Yeah, I don't really understand that. Let's see. Courtland Sutton, low-key underrated. Ryan Strick read my mind. Chafino Yo-Yo in the building. So 6 things. I believe he's had the 4th most snaps in the league without a sack, and he's been in the league for 3 years only. Ramczyk, he's a beast. Quentin Nelson, love him too. Ruiz, my boy. 6 Ink says, great to see you, my boy Marcus. Yeah, Marcus is grinding, doing some of the podcasting, did an uploaded video. So like I said, if, during this, kind of coronavirus time period and, limited time for him and me, since we're both working, full time and, being able to be safe with everything that's going on. If anything, it's just going to be more content for y'all if we end up having to do videos separately from time to time or podcasting separately from time to time. There's going to be times where we're going to be able to do things together, but then it'll give you guys another opportunity to check out his video, check out my video, check out his podcast, check out things that we do together. So it's just going to be more content for the channel and other avenues for you guys to listen to us and to watch us on YouTube. Marlin Humphrey. That is another great one. That was almost going to be on my list. Marlon Humphrey is definitely one of the more underrated players in the NFL. DJ Moore, I would agree that he's underrated. He should have a nice breakout year. I want to be able to see what they're going to be able to do with Teddy Two Gloves and Teddy B and Curtis Samuel as well, because obviously you can go with Run CMC all day, like I said earlier, but I need to be able to see how they're going to utilize these players. Are they going to be busting out things from the Baylor playbook from Coach Rule? I need to be able to see, how they're going to implement, some of the style of play for the Carolina Panthers moving forward. But I am excited to see what the NFC South teams are going to bring this season. So hopefully none of these teams cheat so that their legacies aren't tainted, like Houston Astros. Hopefully we get some baseball back. I know it sounds like that might be the first sport we get back. Maybe no fans. Baseballs, get switched out every, few pitches anyways. So hopefully we get a little bit of baseball, and then hopefully, college football and NFL don't get canceled, even if it's no fans. I mean, people are going to still watch. It'll definitely be weird, with no fans in the crowd, and I definitely want to go to Autzen and check out my Ducks in Eugene, but I guess we're just going to have to wait and see because everyone's safety is, most important. No one wants to get sick or, have loved ones pass, based off this coronavirus. So it says, we coming back to claim the NFC West. Best believe that, Ruiz. I know Rams fans, some of them are anticipating a comeback with Sean McVay, and I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up happening. We will have to see what the Niners do this season. They should still be more than likely the strongest team, but Seattle might dip a little bit. Rams could, leapfrog them. And the Cardinals should be better, too, with D-Hop and Kyler Murray. So I'm excited to see how things all play out in the NFC West. And if the Rams end up making the playoffs this season, to be honest, it wouldn't shock me one bit. I definitely think that that's a possibility. Offensive line, there were some issues there, from 2 seasons ago to last year, and then what we're going to expect this year. Defense had some holes as well. So we're going to have to see if they can patch those holes up. But with Sean McVay, he's always grinding. He's always trying to think of new innovative ways to get an edge. So I'm excited to see what the Rams are going to be able to do, not only against NFC West opponents in their division, but against the whole entire league if they can bounce back. And I really do think that that is a great possibility for the Rams to bounce back. Let's see here. Cortland Sutton. Let's see here. Mark Andrews is underrated. Mark Andrews is great. I'm not sure if really he's underrated. I think a lot of people, really respect his game. If you watch Lamar Jackson and Hollywood Brown and Mark Andrews, I mean, he's that check down guy. He's Mr. Reliable. And I feel that most people do give Mark Andrews the respect. And as, the Ravens start winning more and more games, and if they start getting to more AFC championship games with Lamar, a.k.a. New Wave, he's just going to get more popularity. He's going to keep getting better and better, and I like him. I've been watching him for quite some time. Marcus says, Locke's the truth, trust me, just like Josh Allen. Man, see, comparing Josh Allen and Locke, though, I don't know, man. Like, Josh Allen, they're surrounding him with more weapons, and they should be able to win the AFC East pretty easily to me this season, and the Bills should be able to hold down that division for quite some time unless the Patriots tank, with Jarrett Stidham, and they get Trevor Lawrence or trade up and they get him, then the Bills are in trouble, because obviously if you end up having Belichick and McDaniels and Trevor Lawrence, then, it's like that Tom Brady all over again. But if that doesn't happen, the Buffalo Bills should be, pretty strong, I feel, for the AFC East for quite some time. But I just don't have the same feeling of Drew Lock personally. Some talent there, but I just don't know if he's got everything to take them to the playoffs and take them to the next level, personally. Locke got Judy, too, so hopefully Locke takes advantage of what he has. I mean, he's got a lot of weapons surrounding him. Let's be real. But I'm just don't know, if, to me, in my heart, if I really feel it. Darius Geis, underrated. Yeah, Geis is one of those guys, like Marcus says, he just got to stay healthy. We already know he's got game, you know what I mean? But he's got to stay healthy. Miles Sanders, underrated. Agreed. I think he's underrated. Josh Jacobs is another one. I think it's underrated. Miles Sanders is one of the better running backs in the NFL already as being a new guy. You know what I mean? They implemented him well in the system. I think he's going to have a better year this year than last year. And last year was great. So, for the Fly Eagles fly, and all their fans across the world, for the Eagles, Miles Sanders is nice. I mean, I would love to have a Miles Sanders on my team on the Tampa Bay Bucks, no lie. Josh Jacobs as well, another guy that I feel that I wish Tampa Bay would have tried to go after last season, and he's one of those guys that'll continue to get better and better and better. Low key, though, is I got pumped for Burrow versus Young in the future. Oh, yeah. It's going to be exciting, man. Tamayo Davis, Fred Warner, Jamie's videos, Niner fans says, Fred Warner. Come on now. I take, time with my list. I make sure that I don't just say anybody. He said, Warner, let's go. Damn right. I got to give love, you know what I mean, to players that I really feel that don't get the love, you know, nationally. I mean, a lot of people, Saints fans and NFC South guys, we know Ramczyk, you know, Sutton's guy, if you play fantasy football, that name has been, you know, splattered around here and there. You've heard him get touchdowns and put up points. A lot of people knew Eckler as Melvin Gordon's backup, but don't really realize how great of a skill set that he has, where he can really take over that lead back role for the Chargers and take it to a level that maybe they haven't seen. Even though Melvin Gordon was great for a few years, but, you know, obviously they found their guy. And then Demario Davis is another guy, you know, just had to find the right team, the right situation. He's taking advantage of it, and I absolutely love his game. So everyone should put some respect on Michael Thomas's name. I love Michael Thomas. You can't guard him. You only hope to contain him. Littleton is nice, too. Yeah, I definitely got to give him some love. John Johnson, that's another one. Easily the second best rookie safety last year. Facts on Littleton. Marcus Peters changed the Ravens secondary. Damian Williams, and we were talking about the running back position when I had Austin Eckler. 6 Ink says, oh yeah, Eckler is great too. I've seen some tape on him. Surprised he hasn't talked about a lot. And I think he will be, especially once we get like Justin Herbert starting. You know, they're going to be able to implement him because what's, you know, a quarterback's best friend? A solid running game. You know what I mean? You're going to need good blocking, run blocking, pass protection. But if you can get someone that can, you know, take the screen passes, you know, 30 yards for a touchdown, you know, someone that can pick up blitzes, someone that can run through the tackles and you know, go outside. Eckler can do everything. So it's definitely going to help the progression of Justin Herbert moving forward, you know, for the Chargers. I'm excited to see when he gets his opportunity to show what he can do. Absolutely. Chargers have no fans to pump him up. Well, we'll see with everything that's going to be going down with this coronavirus. Marcus says, make sure y'all follow our podcast on Spotify. Demario Davis. You know I got a good one there. Ruiz, Dark Gaming says, Goff is a liability. Ruiz says, before playoffs, big trust. After playoffs, big rust. You know, and the thing is Goff, you know, when they had the better offensive line, when Gurley was Gurley, and they had better defense, obviously he could show out, you know, with Sean McVay and everything that happened. But if you look at last year, not just as Rams fans like Ruiz, but if you look at someone that's not biased, you could tell the loss of Andrew Whitworth and the loss of pieces on the line was detrimental. Todd Gurley being hurt with his knee and not being Todd Gurley was detrimental. Their defense not being able to stop certain teams like they did the year before when they went to the Super Bowl against the Patriots was detrimental. So you can't tell me that the team was the same as the year before and Goff is garbage and their team is not good. The team is a good, solid team. You know, they have good, solid pieces. Cooper Kupp is nice. They got pieces. It's just that offensive lineman losses like Whitworth and Todd Gurley, I mean, you got to think about how many points that really accounted for. Better defensive players, but having Whitworth in the lineup and having a healthy Todd Gurley, I mean, that took away probably 4 or 5 wins that they probably could have been in the mix for, you know, and having a better record than they did. And that's facts, big facts. I mean, you just have to watch the tape. But a lot of people don't know Andrew Whitworth, or they didn't actually study the Rams' offensive line. All they saw is Todd Gurley on ESPN and then want to talk shit, you know, but you got to go deeper, you know, than just the Todd Gurley thing. You got to be able to go over, you know, the other reasons why, you know, football is a team sport, the ultimate team sport. Let's see here. Marcus says, great list, bro. I try to, you know, come up with a decent list. I didn't want to put Levante David in there, you know, so there's no any type of bias, but I felt like I had to go and do some digging and wanted to kind of mix up the positions, you know, a lineman, you know, maybe do like a wide receiver, a running back, couple defensive guys. But, you know, there's a lot more that you could add on to this list. Marlin Humphrey, you know, there's so many underrated players that you really could think of. I mean, I could probably just go on how many underrated players I feel. Phillip Lindsey, that's another one. For a guy that no one really thought was going to do anything, I love how hard he runs. But now it's really crowded back there. You got him, you got Royce Freeman, you got Melvin Gordon. It's just like, I don't know, they just got too many guys now, you know, to me. You know what I'm saying? Like so many guys in the backfield, like in fantasy football, that's going to be a nightmare. Who's going to get the goal line touches? Lindsey's going to get the yards from the 20 to 20. But after that, Royce Freeman's going to steal a couple red zone looks. I assume Melvin Gordon will steal some red zone looks as well. So let me unlock some of your comments here, Marcus. So we'll have to kind of wait and see. So Chargers going to have the ultimate advantage. They've been playing with no fans since they went to L.A. Well, that's kind of true. That's kind of true. Can't hate you for that. Deebo Samuel. I don't feel Deebo Samuel's underrated. I think Deebo Samuel's a great player, and I think he's already showed what he could do. And if you see in the draft with the Niners when they got Ayuk, from Arizona State, he's going to be just as influential as Deebo Samuel, if not more, this season. This guy runs hard. He runs physical. He's going to be a star in this league, and it wouldn't even surprise me if he ends up being their number one, number two option. Obviously, Kittle is the number one option, as long as he's healthy on the Niners. But this Ayuk guy from Arizona State, the wide receiver, I've watched a lot of tape on him, and he's got a really good chance to, even though he's not CeeDee Lamb, he's not Jerry Jeudy, he's not, some of these other guys that were bigger names, but he's definitely got a chance to be one of the better wide receivers in this draft class. And, as far as having a solid career moving forward, I'm excited to see what he can bring with the San Francisco 49ers.
You know where he lands on the list of all times? Third. And that's in front of Favre and Manning.
All right, let's take a quick look here.
So if you're asking who's going to be the best overall over the course of the history of the game,
Cam Akers. I do like Cam Akers a lot. I'm excited to see what he can do. Darth Spoon, what it do? He said Drew Brees. Yeah, I can't wait for Drew Brees and the Saints. Saints-Bucks games are going to be exciting, and we get that game one. I just hope that, I know it's not a primetime game, but how can that not be primetime? They got to find a way to switch that up and make that a primetime game. I know there's other games that are, on the slate, throughout the year. But how can you not have Saints with Drew Brees, Bucks with Tom Brady, week one? How can that not be on primetime TV? So I don't know. We'll have to kind of wait and see, what that'll do from now until when the season starts. But it's going to be exciting to see how things go, as far as the NFL and college football. Oh, yeah, Saints-Chiefs, Saints-Bucks. God, there's so many great matchups on the schedule. I was actually peeking at the schedule of all the teams in the last couple days, and there's so many fantastic matchups, and I'll be able to highlight those, or me and Marcus will be able to highlight those as we get closer and closer, to the regular season. But NFL top 5 underrated players with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on our YouTube page. So I am kind of running out of time, so I just wanted to hop on for about 30 to 45 minutes, chat with all y'all, get Marcus in the building in the chat, so that way we can continue to put out as much uploads, live streams, podcasts, through this kind of crazy time that we're in with COVID-19 and the coronavirus. Such a various ward, very underrated, agreed. But I'll be able to hop on again sometime later on in the week. We'll try to coordinate, maybe getting me and Marcus linked up at some point in the next week and a half. If not, you can always listen to our podcast that Marcus will end up doing solo. I will try to be able to hop on with him at some point to do a dual podcast so we can go over some things as well. And then we'll be able to do some videos. He'll do some solo videos and do some uploads like he did with some top 5, top 10 lists. I'll do some live streams. Maybe I'll do some uploaded videos. We'll do some stuff together. But all in all, regardless if we end up doing things from my house, his house, it's going to give you guys a lot more content that you'll be able to watch, from podcasting with us together, him doing it solo, me live streaming, me uploading, him uploading. Lenny D in the building. Fly, Eagles, fly, my guy. I was just about to hop out of the stream because I am kind of limited for time, but you can always go back and take a quick look and kind of go over the list. But like I said, going over the list, I'll go over it real quick again for Lenny D since he came in the building. Number 5, and my NFL top 5 underrated players in the NFL going to 2020. Number 5 is offensive tackle, an offensive lineman, one of the best in the league, Ryan Ramczyk from the New Orleans Saints. Definitely a solid piece on any offensive line in the NFL. They needed to address the protection of Drew Brees, especially if they want to be able to get to the NFC Championship game, Super Bowl, and win or get there. I love his game. Andrews Pete should have not got extended, and it shows you with the Cesar Ruiz pick instead of getting Justin Jefferson. They're really trying to address the offensive line, and if you watch that Vikings playoff game with Danielle Hunter and Everson Griffin, that is exactly why in the playoffs when you play a team that's not as good as you, the Vikings, but they have great pass rush, Danielle Hunter, Everson Griffin, it changed the whole complexity of the game where the Saints should have won that game and they got punched in the mouth, didn't have enough time for Brees to go through his progressions, and they unfortunately lost that game. So I really love, that pick, of Cesar Ruiz, but I also love them addressing the offensive line this season and next season. I think it's going to be huge. Don't be surprised if the Saints go for another offensive lineman higher in the top 4 rounds next season to really solidify that offensive line. Number 5, Ryan Ramczyk, one of my favorite tackles in the entire league. The best lineman in the NFL is Quentin Nelson, but Ryan Ramczyk is an amazing offensive tackle. Believe that. Number 4 is a wide receiver from the Denver Broncos. Doesn't get a whole lot of love, but he should in fantasy. Courtland Sutton. Great hands, great route runner, a guy that, isn't a Julio Jones. It's not Odell Beckham. It's not Mike Evans. It's not can't guard Mike, but he's one of those solid pieces that we'll have to see with Drew Lock. He's got Jerry Jeudy now. I want to see Courtland Sutton take his game to the next level, and I think we're going to have a great opportunity to see that moving forward. Number 3, 49ers linebacker Fred Warner. What can this guy not do sideline to sideline? He can do it all. He's always around the football. Great anticipation, great tackling skills. He is the man. One of the most underrated players in the NFL if it wasn't for number 2 and number 1. Number 2 is a player from the Chargers. He is a running back. Now, you got to think, who is the most underrated running back in the NFL? There's a few names that come to mind right off the top, but this guy, Austin Eckler, by far is the most underrated running back in the NFL, and I think he's really going to be able to show out and show his skill set of getting screen passes, draws, picking up blitzes, to show really how great of a route runner he is. I love Austin Eckler, and I know Melvin Gordon leaving kind of hurt, and then him going to the rival Broncos even hurt more, but you got a guy that they believed in. They didn't have to pay as much money as they would have had to pay Melvin Gordon, and I think they picked the right guy, so I'm excited to see what Justin Herbert and Austin Eckler can come up with, because what is a quarterback's best friend besides a beast O-line? A great running game, and Austin Eckler provides that. Number 1, linebacker from the New Orleans Saints, DeMario, a.k.a. the Glue, Davis, the most underrated linebacker in the NFL besides my guy, Levante David. He's a leader, a.k.a. the Glue. He holds everything together for the New Orleans Saints, and I feel that they are going to have a fantastic season in 2020. And I know I got Tom Brady. I know I got Gronk. The Saints are better. I'll give them that on paper. I like the Saints as the divisional winner in the NFC South, and it wouldn't really surprise me if the Saints make the Super Bowl this year. Now, we got to get you to the NFC Championship game first, because I've been really rooting for you guys and Drew Brees to get number 2, championship number 2. Aaron Rodgers needs it, championship number 2. Russell Wilson needs it, right? But Drew Brees needs it more for his legacy, and I want to really see that. And I know it's a crazy thing to say since I got Tom Brady and I got Gronk, right? But I think there's a great possibility of getting Saints-Chiefs, Saints-Ravens. That would be exciting. For me, I would rather see Saints-Chiefs personally, but I know the Ravens will end up getting their opportunity at some point. But I would love to see Mahomes, because the thing is I can't really discredit the Chiefs and Mahomes and have the Ravens beat them, because I don't really know how they'll be able to beat Mahomes and the Chiefs. To me, they have the strongest team from winning a Super Bowl going from last season to this season than any team that I've ever seen besides maybe the 92-93 Cowboys when they repeated. I mean, I don't see any weaknesses. You didn't really lose anybody. You got Clyde Edwards-Helaire. The Chiefs, to me, should go back-to-back. I would really be truly shocked if they don't. And, I mean, if they don't go back-to-back, because I really think they're going to represent the AFC, again, personally. The only team that really could maybe knock them off is the Ravens. But, maybe the Titans and teams like that, surprise teams that get hot like Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. But honestly, out of all the teams, as long as there's no injuries, anything crazy, the Chiefs should win 12, 13, 14, 15 games. I should see them in the Super Bowl. And if they get to the Super Bowl, I mean, how can you go against Patrick Mahomes? Even if somehow, some way, my Bucks got there or the Saints got there or whoever got there, the Saints would probably have the best shot against Drew Brees versus Patrick Mahomes to at least keep it close. But me personally, I mean, the Chiefs they're just built. They are the new dynasty. The Chiefs are the new Patriots, except no cheating. I really do see Patrick Mahomes getting championship after championship, Andy Reid championship after championship. And to be honest, as long as there's no serious injuries with Patrick Mahomes, I honestly do feel he could go down as the best quarterback of all time. And I know it's early. The career is early, but everything that I've seen with his mobility, his intelligence, the way that he throws the ball, the arm strength, the decision making. I mean, he has all the intangibles. We call him, Patrick the Clone Mahomes, because he's a clone of every, favorite quarterback that you've ever seen all molded into one, right? He's Showtime. And as long as they can keep the defensive coordinators there, they keep the defensive players like Honey Badger there, Frank Clark there, Chris Jones, you keep the core there. I could see the Chiefs winning 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 championships. Who knows? Maybe more. Maybe they can even break the New England. And they can end up getting 7 championships in, like an 18-year period. I mean, it's definitely possible, if Mahomes plays like a 20-year career. I really think that Mahomes has all the skills to really elevate his game and get better and better. And those 5,000-yard seasons that we saw out of Drew Brees, we might see like a 6,000-yard season out of Mahomes before his career is over. I mean, just think of how crazy that would be. Like 60 touchdowns and 6,000 yards. Imagine a guy going 6,000 yards passing in a season and going like 60 touchdowns, 8 picks. How crazy that would be. But I definitely could see Patrick Mahomes doing that, and I truly do believe that, he could be, everything's lining up. You know what I mean? We'll have to see, what NFC teams can, do to compensate if they have to go against Patrick Mahomes and if they can knock him off. But, I mean, that's going to be a tough battle as long as they keep their defensive coordinator and keep those defensive pieces up. But I'm excited to be able to see what the NFC can do, just because each year it's always somebody different. And a lot of teams are in the mix. There's usually about 8 teams every year in the NFC where they can flip-flop positions from 1 to 8, and certain teams will get hot in December. And sometimes you don't even really know who's going to be the representative of the NFC, and that's why I love that. But like we said, AFC, Chiefs, Ravens, and I'm not sure if there's anybody else. Nathan Dotson says, sup, oh, Rizzle, what it do? So, Troll Patrol, what it do? So, I think I'm going to have to tap out. I don't want to be able to leave, but like I said, I got other obligations and things I got to do. I worked a full day today from 6:45 until 4:15, and then as soon as I got home, I ate a little bit of food and then hopped on immediately after doing a little bit of research and film watching with the list of my NFL top 5 underrated players. We got Marcus in the building, in the chat as well. So like I said, we're going to try to do as much live streams, uploads, podcasts. Make sure you guys watch our podcasts that we do. Sometimes Marcus will do it solo. Sometimes I'll try to come in there once in a while to do a dual podcast together. So you guys can always check that out, The Average Fan on Spotify. You can check that out with all the links that we have. And like I said, keep a lookout for all the different, things that we're going to be putting out for uploads, live streams, podcasts. We're going to be doing it all, and we're going to try to be able to put out more and more material throughout this coronavirus. Sometimes it's tough to be able to link up, but if we have to put out videos here or we have to put out videos from his place and my place separately, that's just more content for y'all as we move forward, as we get closer and closer to this NFL season. So NFL top 5 underrated players with your boy Ryan and Marcus, the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on our YouTube page. We're getting very close to that 3 million view mark, so we need your guys' support. Please share the videos, tell some friends, anyone that you guys know that loves NFL and loves football, sports in general. Even if you could just add one friend, onto, the list on there. We only need a few hundred more to hit that 20K. Seems like we've been so close going to this 20,000 subscriber mark. We just need your guys' help. So anyone that you guys know that you could spread the word, it would be greatly appreciated. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Lenny D, Ruiz, Troll Patrol, Marcus in the building, Nathan Dotson. Everyone else that was in the chat, anyone that commented earlier, Ryan Schreck, everybody else. Love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And like I said, we'll be back very shortly with another video. And then, like I said, Marcus might be able to try to put something out. And like I said, I'm going to try to hopefully put out something tomorrow or Thursday as well, an upload, a live stream. I'll communicate with Marcus. And like I said, he'll try to be in the chat at the very least if we're not able to link up. So NFL Top 5 Underrated Players with your boy Ryan and Marcus, the Northwest Sports Fanatics. I hope you guys have a great Tuesday. Enjoy the rest of your week. Love you guys, and keep a lookout for more NFL coverage from the best on YouTube, Orion and Marcus, the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Peace.